Hey everyone, it's Pickles T2G. Thanks for checking out the video. Today we're going to talk about the Whitley, which is my favorite gun, the gun I've used the most in the game. I play a lot of hardcore, so those of you who haven't seen me in core domination recently, that's what I've been doing, spending a lot of time playing some hardcore TDM with some long-time old Call of Duty friends and just working on some of the most interesting gun builds I've come up with thus far. A lot of people ask me what I use with the Whitley, and we're going to take a look at it here. You can see it on the screen. We'll go through each piece fairly quickly, and at the end I'm going to show you some gameplay of how it works out and why I just think it's one of the silliest things you will ever do. And once you start using it, you probably won't go back. So first off, we're going to start with the recoil booster. I take the recoil booster purely for its extra rate of fire. Some people prefer the silencer. Kind of depends on your playstyle, and we'll talk about another slight modification to this build that you may want to choose the silencer over the recoil booster, but more often than not, I take it for that extra fire rate. In hardcore, where it's that one-hit kill with the Whitley, typically the fire rate does matter because you just get more bullets out. That's what it comes down to. I go with the Gracie Rapid Barrel, as you can see. Again, fire rate comes up. Now, it does tell you that at the cost of some of the damage, you have some adverse effects and handling. We're going to adjust it so that isn't as obvious as you go, and you're still going to get a lot of power out of this gun. And certainly with the fire rate, you're going to knock people over pretty quick. Now, some people like to use the ragdoll barrel that you see here. It does carry a lot more damage, but your fire rate goes down significantly. Some of you have probably been victims of being shot through a particular wall at a really, really long range, and you see a gun that they're using, it's got a fairly slow fire rate. It's the Whitley with the ragdoll barrel. Now, I do have friends that prefer to run it this way, but I like to use the Whitley all the time, and I suggest going with the rapid barrel, but you may want to try out both and see what best fits your play style. Keeping in mind that even though the rapid barrel doesn't carry quite the same amount of damage over range, it's still going to shoot through most walls. It'll shoot through almost everything, and we are going to see that in some of the gameplay video and gameplay scenarios that I'll have attached at the back end of this video. So, Gracie Rapid Barrel is a must for me. Optic, as you all know, comes down to personal preference. I go with the 2.5 times. I just find it's very versatile, gives you that little bit of extra visual at range, especially for us that are getting older. I need a little better eyesight to be able to pick up targets, but you may find that you have a preferred option there, like an optic or a larger scope. Keep in mind, you get up above the 3x zoom on your scope, and you're going to have that scope glint, and people are going to see where you are. So keep it under that, which is why I use the 2.5. Make sure that my gun isn't having that little reflection on it. Now, the stock is kind of depending on your play style. I go with the Gracie EM3 because I like to use this gun. Believe it or not, I do run and gun with this. It seems a little strange that I would be using an LMG to run and gun with. It's not super fast. It certainly cannot compete against like an MP40 or something like that. But I like it just because it gives me the aim down sight speed, lets me move a little bit faster, so if I want to get around the map, and it's got that initial recoil and accuracy, so the first shots out of the gun are very accurate and very on target. A lot of people do prefer taking the padded stock on this, especially because as you can see under continuous fire, for those of you that do wall banging and use piercing vision, I have piercing vision on this, we'll come back to that. But for those of you that you like to do a lot of that firing through the walls, this is better overall probably for you, especially where if you're crouched, you can keep the gun very flat and very even. But I use the Gracie M3 because I like to be a little bit more mobile, and truthfully, I don't really notice a huge difference between those two things. I also do burst fire at times to keep that gun down so it's not just continually recoiling and kicking up in the air, but it really, again, depends on your personal preference. But for me, Gracie EM3 is the way to go. Hard scope is what's going to help you with that rapid fire barrel, right? So we talked about how it's going to have some recoil, it's going to kick and sway quite a bit. This is where using hard scope instead of something like sleight of hand is going to give you that accuracy and recoil during sustained fire. And so I recommend this. Some people take sleight of hand because they find it loads too slow, but honestly, you'll see up next, which is always a must for an LMG, you got to take fully loaded. Once you take fully loaded, you get that starting max ammo, and that's 900 rounds. We'll talk about that on this gun. It's 900 rounds. So you keep hard scope on, you get lots of bullets, you can constantly be shooting, and you with fully loaded, you get 900 rounds. Polymer grip. I use this over, again, it really depends on your playstyle. Some people like to take, something like granular where you've got it walking in the movement speed. Other people like to take the leather grip for aim down sight speed, or fabric, again, sprint to fire speed also included in there. But because this gun is often used for wall banging and it is an LMG, I take the flinch resistance, so if I get hit, it's not moving, but also the additional accuracy and recoil during sustained fire again. Which takes us over to the magazine type. Now, there's been a lot of conversation about this. Some people prefer the 30-06 120 round because it reloads faster. However, I just find the bullet range and the velocity with the 50 cal mag and the 150 round magazine is just a better option. I use it on every single build. Other people have tried convincing me to use the other magazines, and I honestly don't think it makes sense. I think the 50 cal is the way to go in this, and you'll see there damage and bullet penetration really allows you to go through a lot of different surfaces and have a lot of ammo to be able to do it. Obviously, you must take FMJ. I mean, you could go for armor piercing if you're concerned about it. Arguably, it gives you a little more firepower, but that's really just against things like vehicles. FMJ rounds are the way to go. They give you that bullet pen, and for those of you using piercing vision, that bullet pen is going to just give you that outline and make sure that you're hitting the target. Lastly, the hand stop, recoil, and accuracy. Again, you may have a personal preference here of running something like the Strife Angled, which gives you a little more speed while walking, or the Skeletal for the aim down sight speed, but honestly, accuracy and recoil is the way to go on this. There hasn't been too much argument about this with the people that I play with. It seems to be fairly unanimous that the hand stop is the way to go. Lastly, as I mentioned a couple times, make sure you grab piercing vision with this build. It's in your intel section or the red perks. Piercing vision, again, as a reminder, I still go into matches and people have no idea how we're dropping 100 kills on them. Piercing vision, when you build a gun like an LMG that has bullet penetration and has lots of ammo and it's going through surfaces, will highlight the enemies in like red or orange or an amber color. You will be able to see them. And because I just showed you with that build how you can build it so that you can shoot through every surface with the Whitley, you can kill a lot of people and they will never see you. They will never see you. And I know many of you have been victims of this, to which I apologize to some degree, but you must take piercing vision with this build. Once you do it, you will not go back. And especially if you're playing with a team, you will find you can hold angles and you can hold sections of the map, and people just will not be able to get to you because you'll see them long before they're coming.
Oh my god, bro. Come the fuck on.
So, in the end, this is ultimately what I think is the optimal build. Would love to hear your thoughts on it. But for now, we're going to jump over and check out some of the video clips. And it's not about, hey, look how awesome I'm doing. It's more to show you just how obvious piercing vision becomes and how you can use the Whitley to hold an area and shoot people through all kinds of surfaces. So thanks for checking out the video. Take a look at the in-game play and would love your feedback. Have a great day, everyone.
Hardcore deathmatch. Eradicate all threats. We have the lead. Keep it up.
Io la granada siempre cojo a alguien, cabrón. Mira, cuidado. Lo odio que está enfrente a mí.
Ah, mía, pai. Estaba escondido ahí, pero se quedó.
in the flying fortress.
Vediamo che è invalido, cavolo.
And now you know about the Whitley and wall banging in piercing vision. Don't forget. Let's watch this, see what happens.
Tiene chila y todo el cabrón, ¿viste?
Oh, it's so broken. Alright, enjoy. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.